Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into an ancient text. But honestly, we're not treating it like some dusty, forgotten myth. No, this is a gripping, high-stakes diplomatic crisis. We're going to break down an absolute masterclass in leverage, negotiation, and ultimate sacrifice, looking at the legendary story of Sukra and King Vrishaparvan. So this isn't just ancient history. It's a timeless study of power dynamics. Let's get right into it.
Right off the bat, I want you to ask yourself a question. What price would a king pay to save his empire? I mean, really think about it. When your back is completely against the wall, when all your usual defenses have completely failed, and the survival of your entire geopolitical landscape is literally hanging by a thread, what's the ultimate cost you'd be willing to pay to keep everything from collapsing? Keep that in the back of your mind as we go through this story. Sins must bear their fruit. Like rich food, they can never be digested. Okay, that chilling warning comes from a figure named Sukra. Now, in our narrative, Sukra isn't just your standard wise sage giving out life advice. He is his kingdom's absolutely most vital strategic asset. He possesses this immense spiritual power that quite literally acts as a shield for the entire empire. When he speaks, the throne listens. And right now, he is delivering a brutal reality check directly to his leader, King Vrishaparvan. He's signaling that a massive political earthquake is about to hit. Section 1. The Guru's Wrath. Let's dive into this. So, let's look at the inciting threat of our political thriller. The whole crisis kicks off with a furious Sukra listing his grievances to the king. The Asuras, that's King Vrishaparvan's powerful clan, well, they've crossed a massive red line here. First, they ruthlessly slaughtered a man named Kacha. And Kacha wasn't just anybody. He was a virtuous student living under Sukra's direct protection. And to make matters infinitely worse, they severely mistreated Sukra's beloved daughter, Devayani. So for Sukra, this isn't just a simple misunderstanding you can smooth over. It is an unforgivable breach of trust, and he angrily threatens to pack up his immense power and just abandon the king entirely. Notice how Sukra frames the consequences of their offense. He tells the king that sinful acts don't work like the earth, which, bears fruit immediately and visibly. Instead, he uses this terrifying, slow poison metaphor. Sins, he warns, extirpate or root out the doers gradually and secretly over generations. Basically, the punishment might not hit you today. It might wait in the shadows and destroy your son or even your grandson. It's a brilliant framing because it elevates the stakes from just a temporary political misstep to a creeping, pure existential dread that the king absolutely cannot ignore. Section 2. A Desperate King. Let's analyze the absolute panic of a leader who realizes he is about to lose his ultimate defense system. Confronted with Sukra just packing up and leaving, King Vrishaparvan reveals his total lack of leverage. He openly admits to the sage, "If leaving us thou really goest hence, we shall then go into the depths of the ocean." I mean, the king is confessing right there that his empire will literally drown without Sukra's ascetic merits, his spiritual force field protecting them. It's just a complete exposure of royal vulnerability, a total admission that the crown's power is entirely dependent on this one single individual. And the sheer scale of the king's desperation here is just astounding. He lays out a total, unconditional surrender. He tells Sukra that the guru is the absolute master of everything the Asura chiefs possess. He offers the royal elephants, the keen, meaning his vast, priceless herds of cattle, the horses, and incredibly, even his own humble self. Think about that. The king is perfectly willing to liquidate absolutely all of his royal assets and his own autonomy just to keep his chief strategic advisor from walking out the front door. So the really crucial point here is how Sukra responds to this massive blank check. He doesn't just accept the wealth and move on, which, let's face it, would have been the easy out. Instead, he brilliantly shifts the entire power dynamic. He tells the king, "I am unable to bear my daughter's grief. Seek ye to please her." He completely sidesteps the king's massive offer and delegates the final negotiation right down to his aggrieved daughter, Devayani. He's essentially telling the most powerful man in the kingdom, if you're truly offering everything, go prove it to her. Section 3. Devayani's Harsh Ultimatum. All right, here is where the true painful cost of the king's desperation is actually extracted. Let's walk through Devayani's incredibly cunning diplomatic requirements. First, Sukra goes to her and relays the king's total surrender. But Devayani? She refuses to accept the victory secondhand. That just doesn't give her the dominance she's looking for. In step 2, she demands the king come and speak to her directly, face to face. Step 3, Vrishaparvan actually approaches the young woman and completely submits to her, stating he will give her whatever she desires, no matter how difficult.
By doing this, she forces the sitting king to publicly humble himself, absolutely locking in her leverage before she even states her price. It's a real game changer.
And this builds to a staggering, truly devastating demand. Devayani's price for national security, it's exactly 1,000 maids, plus the king's own daughter, Princess Sarmishtha, forced to wait on her. And guys, this isn't just a temporary punishment. Sarmishtha must permanently follow Devayani wherever her father eventually gives her away in marriage. It is a jaw-dropping demand for lifelong servitude from the royal family itself. Devayani isn't just asking for wealth here, she is demanding the complete subjugation of the king's own flesh and blood. No way around it.
Section 4. The princess becomes servant. We're now going to examine exactly how a royal princess reacts to being traded away like a political hostage. A maid is frantically sent to fetch Princess Sarmishtha and explain the grim situation. Sukra is leaving, the empire's going to fall, and you must do whatever Devayani wishes to stop him. Sarmishtha's response is an incredible display of strategic sacrifice. She immediately states, "Both Sukra and Devayani must not leave the Asuras through my fault." This draws a sharp, immediate contrast between Devayani's vindictive pride and the princess's deeply stoic acceptance of her horrific new duty to the state.
When Sarmishtha actually approaches Devayani with her 1,000 maids, Devayani simply cannot help but rub it in. She is totally relishing this shocking inversion of the ancient social hierarchy. She points out that she is merely the daughter of a chanter who begs and accepts alms, while Sarmishtha is the privileged daughter of an adored king. She tauntingly asks the newly minted servant, "How canst thou be my waiting maid?" It's a highly calculated move, clearly designed to break the princess's spirit entirely. But remarkably, Sarmishtha doesn't rise to the bait. Her answer is an absolute masterclass in composure. She tells Devayani, "One must by all means contribute to the happiness of one's afflicted relatives. Therefore shall I follow thee." She shows incredible quiet dignity in this moment. I mean, she is cheerfully swallowing her immense royal pride and accepting a life of harsh servitude, specifically to secure the survival of her people. It's an agonizing personal loss, for sure, but a brilliant geopolitical victory. And with that brutal trade-off, the geopolitical crisis comes to a close. Devayani tells her father she is finally gratified and praises his immense power. Sukra, his righteous wrath completely appeased by this display of absolute submission, happily re-enters the Asura capital, worshipped once again by the Danavas, the very people whose doom he had literally just threatened. The spiritual force field is restored, and the kingdom is saved, but at a tremendous, life-altering cost to the royal family. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final provocative question. We've seen incredible leverage, vindictive pride, and total capitulation today. But ask yourself, in this ultimate game of survival, who held the true power? Was it the king who technically ruled but panicked and surrendered everything? Or was it the princess turned servant whose quiet, stoic sacrifice actually saved the empire from destruction? It completely changes how you look at leadership and power, doesn't it? Thanks for exploring this fascinating dynamic with me.